Well, the Preston Lord murder investigation and the Gilbert goon situation is finally getting national attention, and that means it is time for a new recap video. This video is not going to be for those of you who have been following along since the beginning, but it will give everyone who's new a understanding of what has happened in the Preston Lord murder investigation and the situation with the Gilbert goons from day one up until now. My name is Billy Tarasio. I'm an Arizona family law attorney, a mom of 4, I have 2 teens, and I live here in Gilbert. As of today, 7 teenagers and young men have been charged with first-degree murder in relation to Preston's death, but the way that we got here was not a straight line at all. Months after Preston's attack, no arrests had been made, and the community was getting very loud. The Arizona Republic, our local newspaper, printed an expose that alleged that a gang, had been running around our area, Gilbert, called the Gilbert goons, and that these boys, the Gilbert goons, had been engaged in recreational activity, which included attacking random victims, videoing it, posting it online, and that this was for sport and for fun, and that's what happened with Preston. This caused more public outrage, and more people began getting involved and being very invested in making sure that our cities and our towns are safe. Gilbert, where I live, has long been ranked as the 2nd safest city to live in America. So this is widely touted, well known. We, Gilbert residents, believed that we lived in essentially a place that was free of violent crime and certainly free of random violent crime. Then videos started coming out. People within the community had mapped out who they believed killed Preston Lord, and they were by and large correct. We knew the names, we knew what happened, we knew what the story was. The story was that Preston and his friends were at a party, that there were more than one party on that night. They were at one party and there was some sort of a fight or an attack. Somebody took a video of it. That somebody may have been in Preston's group of friends. They went to the next party, and at that next party, a group of people zoned in on Preston, followed him, surrounded him, attacked him, and within seconds, he was left for dead. His friends that were with him tried to perform CPR, and he died 2 days later in the hospital. By end of December, early January, video after video after video was coming out. The social media platforms of these boys who were allegedly involved had been mapped, and we were pulling off of their social media profiles videos of them engaged in drugs, guns, lots and lots of violence. There were so many videos of random people beaten, being posted online, on TikTok, on Instagram, on Snapchat. There were admissions of people who had been involved in Preston Lord's murder posted online. Screenshots were taken. They were shared. Most of the crimes with this group of people had happened in Gilbert, but we were seeing that this type of behavior, this blitz-style attack of many teens on one teen, was really happening everywhere. Lots of random attacks, many times using brass knuckles. Gilbert Police Department reopened a bunch of cases and started making arrests. The arrests that they were making were for incidents that had happened in 2022 and 2023. Some of those had already been reported. Some of them were being newly reported. They reopened cases. They put up different images, and they asked the public for help identifying people. Within hours, the public in a Facebook group had identified who these kids were. To date, 40 arrests have been made of these so-called Gilbert goons, and their arrests have been for drug crimes, for gun crimes, for violent crimes. Civil lawsuits have been filed by victims against all of the collective identifiable Gilbert goons and their parents, and a notice of claim has been served on Chandler School District for failing to create a safe environment after threats were reported to Chandler School District repeatedly, and they did nothing about it. 4 of the 7 attackers in Preston Lord's murder had been previously involved in crimes that happened before his murder that were not properly investigated, or that they had not been charged in connection with those previous crimes. two of the ringleaders who were most involved in many of the crimes and drug dealers who dealt drugs to many of these children were not involved in Preston Lord's murder, but have been charged in connection with those crimes, including drug dealing, including trading sex with a minor for drugs, including vehicular assault, burglary, aggravated robbery, aggravated assault related to drugs and sale of drugs. The indictment against the 7 charged with murder for Preston Lord alleges that some were involved in robbery when they stole a necklace, and that they stole a necklace from one of Preston's friends, and that is what caused the fight. There is also an allegation of felony murder. That is the first-degree murder charge in connection with kidnapping. The kidnapping alleged is that Preston was surrounded and could not leave. He was confined, and therefore they were engaged in that felony and are responsible for felony murder. All 7, including one that videoed the assault but was not physically involved in the assault, are being charged with first-degree murder, second-degree murder in the alternative or in addition to first-degree murder, kidnapping, and some are also being charged with robbery for that necklace. There has been no investigation as to why these crimes were not investigated sooner. Gilbert Police Department stands by their work and thinks they've done a fine job and don't see any problem with the work they've done. The town council, who of course hires the police chief, also doesn't seem to think that there was any problem with the lack of investigation that previously happened. Rachel Mitchell, the county attorney, has come out very, very strong against these 7, but has turned down charges for other Gilbert goons who victims identified as attackers. There is a lot of talk about connections and status and affluence, and that there are a lot of allegations that the connection, status, and affluence had a lot to do with the fact that charges were not brought sooner and that this behavior was not taken more seriously sooner. On the larger level, schools are reeling. Parents are being incredibly engaged and critical of how schools are handling bullying and violence, and schools have largely been silent and have not really come up with anything, any proposals, any even conversation about what's happening with our youth, or what they think that they could be doing differently, or what they need from parents in order to make a safer school environment. There's largely been nothing said. There's a current petition to recall the president of the Chandler School Board for her handling of a boy who spoke at a town council meeting. The community is engaged. They're angry. It's also an election year. The mayor of Gilbert is not running for re-election. There are 3 candidates for mayor, all with very different positions and personalities. If you've got specific questions, shoot them my way. I'll do my best to answer them. And I hope that this recap was helpful.